Hi everyone, this is Molly Z here and Deirdre Southern, and we're with Successful Women in Business, and we are super excited today because we have an amazing couple of guests. We have a husband and wife team, Melody and Blair McFarlane. I'll introduce them in a minute, but first I want to go over who we are with Successful Women in Business for those of you that don't know us. I know we have our group has about 200 members now, and we're growing strong. And I went ahead and put this little pink post-it up on the map today because Melody and Blair are from Tennessee, so that's who we're talking to. And welcome, Tennessee. So a little bit about Successful Women in Business. We are a group of women, and we're global, so we're all over the world. And our mission is to help other women by mentorship, training, and just inspiration to be more for themselves and their families, whether it be personal lives, business, or whatever they need help with. And we've recently got the pleasure to hook up and join forces with Robert Hollis, who is one of our main mentors here. And he's really inspired us to take Successful Women in Business to the next level. Now, on 2014, we did quite a few interviews, and the reason we do the interviews is to help our women learn from other women that have already gotten, some pretty major success in their life. And I always try to include families as well, because in no way do we are we all about women. We love men too, and we love children and grandchildren. So with Robert, I got the pleasure of, he actually helped me get away to go to GoPro, and so we got a chance to sit down there, and he talked to me a little bit one-on-one, and he said, what you're doing is so amazing, but I feel like I could really help you to get it out there more. So we talked about the interviews that we were going to be doing for 2015, and he taught me basically to use this format or foundation of the Google Hangouts to be able to release this out to so many people out in the world. So I started going through the process of his training and mentorship, and Deirdre as well. And we started to learn, wow, we could really take this to amazing places, and we could really help a lot of people. So we kind of came on board with him, and now I'm working one-on-one with him, and Deirdre is also, she has some other businesses going on too, but we all work together, and we're all about helping people. So this interview today is going to be basically for all of you to be able to see that this amazing couple who has been able to take their life to extreme levels of success, and that we can all learn from. So gosh, with that being said, I think I'm going to just jump in and welcome the amazing couple, Blair and Melody. Would you all like to just say hi and kind of tell us a little bit about who you are?
Absolutely. Thank you, Molly, for having us, and Deirdre and Robert. We're just so excited to be on this hangout with y'all. We've been in the network marketing industry now. This year, actually, the 26th of January will be our 25th year that we've been in network marketing. And, I know we're not that old. We don't look it. I know we don't. But 25 years ago, we got into our first network marketing company, and we had never heard of network marketing ever. I was a stay-at-home mom. I actually had just gotten into a cosmetic direct sales company and was doing that, and Blair allowed me to stay home to pursue that and to be there for our kids. Our kids were a lot younger at that time, and he was in construction.
Yep.
And so, we just thought that was, you just work your job or work whatever you're doing in life. And one of these days, if you do everything right and do what they say and put your nose to the grindstone and put some little elbow grease in there and all, you're going to make it, and everything, your dreams will come true and all that. And we realized, no, that's not how you do it. That wasn't working. All we knew was that we were just working to get through the day, have a little bit of time with our family, and get up and do it all over again the next day. And we just kept thinking there has to be more to life. There just has to be. I just don't think that, God created us just to work, 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 and never enjoy our life. And so, we didn't realize we were looking, but we were. We would talk about it all the time, and we would say, gosh, is this all there is? Is this all there is to life? And we got introduced through a friend of ours, came over and talked to us about, having choices. What would you do if you had not only money, but if you had the time to go along with it? Where would you go? What would you do? What would you have? And, just really got us dreaming, and we didn't have a problem dreaming at all.
I had lots of big dreams.
Lots. And, we were like, but how are you going to do that? And they gave us a little cassette tape, and we listened to it, and it got our interest up. We thought, wow, if this is really true, if there really is a way that we could do that, we want to know about it. And we learned about it, and that's when we got introduced to network marketing. And for us, the numbers made sense. We're like, you talk to a few who talk to a few who talk to a few, and before you know it, everybody is on board. We're all buying products. We're all talking to everybody, and we just knew we'd be rich just, wow, like in a year.
Yeah,
absolutely. We saw the numbers. We saw that possibility of network marketing, and we thought, wow, why isn't everybody doing this? This was 1990, and we thought, wow, I just can't believe nobody's heard of this,
Well, just we hadn't heard of it.
Well, I mean, all of our friends, I guess it's the people you hang around,
Yeah.
So, we just, wow, we fell in love with it. And we just believed with everything in us that we could work this and do it. And we worked, and we worked, and we worked, and we worked, and we worked. And we worked, and it wasn't happening,
We'd put them in, they drop out. We'd put in some more, they drop out.
Oh, it just...
I was kind of waiting for her to take a breath where I'd jump in here. But,
sorry.
Go, Blair.
we were 34 years old at the time, and I was a frame carpenter. Like I was saying to other people, I started out 1973, $1.75 an hour, just swinging a hammer, just hard physical labor type work. And by that time, a few years later, 1990, I had my own business, or I should say it had me. So I was working, 60, 80 hours a week, every week. And this opportunity came along, this idea, this new concept, this new idea about how you could make residual income. And that really caught my eye. Long-term residual income, where there would be, back then we got paid in checks, so checks in the mailbox. That really interested me. I could go to sleep and wake up with a little more money than I had before I laid my head on the pillow, and I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. And one of the things on that cassette tape that we listened to years ago was a quote by J. Paul Getty, one of the wealthiest men in America, who said on that cassette that, I'd rather have 1% of 100 person's efforts versus 100% of my own. And that just resonated with me, because I was out there 100% of my own, man, and I had to just hit it and get it every day to make that money every week to feed my kids, So with that, that's how we got started.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about, I remember at GoPro, and I told Melody during our private conversation when we were scheduling this interview that, I'm glad that I didn't have to pee when you were talking, because I wasn't leaving the room, I was like, her story was just so, captivating and, so personal, and my favorite part was at the end where you were like, I might not be the big gun, but I'm just the little gun that never stops shooting,
That's exactly our story. That's it in a nutshell. We worked so hard, and we really believed in what we were doing. We believed it with everything in us, and we believed in our dream. We were fortunate enough, actually. The first company that we became involved with was so good at developing your dream. That's all they talked about was the dream, the dream, the dream. And they built that up in us so strong, and they were really good about teaching us to develop our own self personally and to become better people and to get into the books and we listened to tapes and we, it just turned our world upside down, totally changed us. And, we realized that we weren't raising our kids like we should be. We were giving them everything. And we realized, oh, my gosh, we got to give them a work ethic. We got to teach them to earn. They weren't too happy with it.
Yeah,
but
no more allowance.
They never are. Right, Robert?
But, it was things like that made such a difference for us. It taught us to be better spouses to one another. It taught us to be better better kids to our parents. We still have parents, and it just taught us to be better human beings.
Yes.
And so we might not have made any money with that company. In fact, we were with that company for 10 years, and the only reason we didn't give up is because we didn't want to give up on our dream. And we realized that God had us right where we were supposed to be, and we always knew that if we were going to leave that company, God was going to have to shut a door, and it would have to be so clear, so confirming to us that unless that happened, we were going to be where we were. We just weren't ever going to leave, and we just knew that somewhere, somehow, some way, if we didn't give up, it was going to happen for us. But we had such an education. Even though we didn't make the money, we had well over an equivalent of a Vanderbilt education in personal development.
Yes, so we've got a PhD in personal growth and people skills. And I do remember us, 1990, we were in a big event in Louisville, Kentucky, and they had Dennis Waitley as the guest speaker. Mm-hmm. And, some of these names that I'd never even heard of. It's like, wow. And I remember we came home with, stars in our eyes. And I was thinking, man, how long has this been going on? And it's been going on for a long, long time. But, some of these early guys like Zig Ziglar and some of those big name speakers we were privileged to see and learn from and read their books and, put us on the path, put us on that, personal development and success thinking, that millionaire mindset. We had to develop that millionaire mindset in our minds to realize that we could do it, we could do it.
Yeah. So it took time, for us, your journey is your journey. And for us, we had a 15-year journey of personal development before we ever found the right business for us. The one that was actually, it's not by accident, I think some people can fall into something and become very successful very quickly, but then sooner or later, they're going to have to go through that personal development if they're going to take it to that whole other level, and we just got all that in before we became successful in network marketing, before we started making money. And
there's a saying out there that I learned the hard way too. The worst success in the world is a little. Because for a lot of people that I've seen in 26 years of doing this, they get in and everything just worked for them at the beginning, but they didn't get the personal development that you guys got and I got. And so then all of a sudden they thought they got it. They thought they had it. Right. And so, their checks would go like $2,000, $4,000, and $5,000, and they quit their job. And then 4 months later, they just didn't. People are starting to fall out because they didn't build relationships. They didn't learn the personal development, the leadership that you guys did, and then they had to start all over. And there's nothing worse than walking away from your job and not having that income flow, and now you got no network marketing flow. So, great point. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's so important to develop that, and it was really exciting for me to see Robert actually at this event, even with the amount of success that he's been able to achieve in his life, and the amount of people that know him and his knowledge, he still has the times when a light bulb will go off in his head, and so. When I saw that, I kind of was there to see that light bulb go off, and so I was like, oh my God, like this is it for me, and I knew when I saw that happen for him because of the fact that the mentorship and the years that it takes to build the belief that you guys built is so important. And so what he's choosing to do now is like you know, can we save people maybe a little bit of that time just in the fact of knowing that they need to do this first before they try to jump in and, you know, learn everything too quick without the development that they need to get to where they want to go. So, you know, if we can even shorten that time a little bit, especially for the younger people, you know, like Deirdre has a 4-year-old, and I'm like, God, I wish I knew about all this self-development stuff when my kids were little, you know. I'm kind of just doing it late in life. So, you know, if I can show younger people, hey, like, I didn't learn this till I was like in my 40s, now in my 50s, but if I had learned this in my 20s or 30s, you know, I'm not saying my life would be any, you know, better, but it could be different. I mean, I hate to say that because then I don't want to sound like I'm unhappy in my life, because I'm very happy. But, you know, if I could do it over again, yes, I wish I would learn about self-development in my 20s instead of my 40s. So, and Deirdre, like, I'm so excited because she's, you know, my partner and good friend, and she has a 4-year-old, and I'm like, this kid's gonna grow up seeing this, and she's gonna be better off for it. So, I guess that leads me to the next question, but I wrote down that you're all about excitement about your product, and I just told you how excited I am about our product. So, you know, maybe go a little bit into how that's so important for you guys.
Wow, it makes all the difference in the world. You know, in the other businesses that we were in, really and truly, we were taught, don't even worry about the product. You know, get excited about building your team, and everybody just learn to buy from themselves and be their own best customers. But even if you don't like the product, I even heard from stage some people saying, who cares what the product is? Just bury it in your backyard, throw it away, give it away, whatever, just buy it. And that's what we did. So it never occurred to me in all those 15 years that that was a huge difference of why we weren't successful. We were not passionate about our product. And then when I got into the company I'm currently in now, I got excited about the product, and it made all the difference in the world. You know, and it was like, wow, I wasn't selling at all. I was just telling people, and I got excited, and I became very passionate about what I had my hands on. And when that came together, it just was magic. It is about what you're trying to share with people. And so if you're not excited about what you have your hands on, it's going to be very difficult. And I realized that was the missing ingredient for us in the other businesses that we had. But again, I'm a firm believer that God's hand is in everything. And so he knew what we needed at the time in order to bring us to the point where we are, you know, when we got into our company that we're currently with, and to where we are today. I know we wouldn't be where we are today if we had not gone through all of that for the prior 15 years. So, you know, it is, it's bittersweet because we look back and we look at all the money we spent, the hours that were spent, the miles on the car, we wore out cars, you know, time away from our kids when they were younger. We thought we were making a sacrifice, and we were. I mean, we believed in what we were doing. But all of that was in preparation for today. And I know that because of that, we're able to reach out to the younger people and to say, you know, just like you said, we want to help you save some time here. You know, the kids today, they don't have a clue about you know, really and truly how to behave, manners. You know, they just don't have that etiquette. And so we, as the older ones, I feel like that's part of our job, is to teach these young kids that are coming up that to say, you know what, this is how you're going to get through in life. You know, got to learn a little bit of manners. You need to learn what ethics are. You've got to learn to be polite. You've got to learn to be kind, and, you know, quit airing all your dirty laundry on Facebook, and, you know, just so many things. We just feel like, in fact, our team calls us Mama and Papa Bear, you know, because we're just that role model for them to, to become better and to realize, you've got to change. That you're just not going to be able to bring up a big army with you if you don't change.
Right.
Leadership is about inspiring. It's not about having a title and just, saying, now do what I tell you to do. That's not leadership. Leadership is being able to say, come on, guys, there's a better way, and to be inspired to want to follow.
Absolutely. Inspire them to where they develop their own motivation, and we, like Melody was saying, we always try to teach and practice the old golden rule. That goes way, way back before our time even, but I always want to treat people like I'd like to be treated no matter who they are. I don't care if they're the janitor cleaning out the men's room at the airport, or just whatever, you know what I mean? I always be just a human being also, and two. And hopefully people feel better after they've come in contact with us than they did before. I always try to leave people that way. And there's I understand the thing, fake it till you make it, and there's some credence in that, and that you want to learn and develop your mind to have, like I said, that millionaire mindset. But
confidence.
Yeah, but that also the flip side of that I don't like, because I don't want to be a fake. Like with the product thing, when Mel was saying, some leadership in another company is like, Bear in the backyard, you still get your check. It doesn't matter, That's the old fake it till you make it the wrong way, in my opinion. So we're never about that, with what we're doing ever, But develop yourself, yes, and develop your mind. Get your belief up there. I know for me, after all our years, it was hard for me to run one more time with the belief that yes, we could become, whatever, multimillionaires. After all those years of struggle and whatever, but still developing in my mind that, yeah, we can do it. We've learned a lot. We have what it takes. We just need to put it into action with the right company for us, and that we can still do it. So, I hope that all made sense.
Yeah,
it all does. And from there, I want to. Sorry, I'm echoing a little. Oh, Deirdre, yes. Yeah. I just wanted to. First of all, I wanted to tell them that Deirdre and Michael Hoffman, who is her partner, they do a Power Couples show, which we're also promoting with Successful Women in Business. And it's them actually talking about, going through life as a couple, and some of the struggles and some of the, greatness about it. And by the way, I wanted to correct that her daughter is now 6, right? I said
she'll be 6 on Friday.
I'm like, I've been saying she's 4 for 2 years. Okay, she's just turning 6, and my daughter's turning 22 today. So, Alexandra, I want to let Deirdre take over now with her questions, but I just wanted to put out there that she does the couples part of Successful Women in Business. So go for it, Dee. I know you have some amazing questions for the McFarlanes today.
Well, I wanted to say a couple of different things. One of the things you had spoken to, Blair, just a minute ago, you said the whole fake it till you make it, how that doesn't work. And one of the poignant things about that is in Robert Hollis's book, I remember reading that part where he put faith it till you make it. And it's about faith, and it's about belief. And I find that a lot of successful people, that's where everything seems to stem from, that overall faith and belief and that perseverance. And although several of my questions I think were already really answered well, because I wanted you both to speak to, you've had great success and you've seen the mistakes made, and I think you've really answered those questions. But my next question is a little bit more personal. And we spoke a little bit prior about it. When I watched your guys' video, I was truly inspired, because I just very recently lost my father, who meant the world to me. And one of the questions, and I know this is, it's always difficult to speak through it, but you so eloquently spoke to it. I would love for you guys, if you could, just touch a little bit on how you turned what I would call, a tragedy into a triumph. You were really able to do that, and I'm currently kind of trying to feel that piece out myself, and to really to be able to use the loss of my father to persevere through things, and how to gain success for it, because I know at the end of the day that's what he would want. And I remember you saying that in your video. At the end of the day, that was what your daughter would have wanted. So
yes, yeah. In 2002, our youngest daughter, we have 4 children, and Lisa was our youngest daughter. She was 21, and she was just left for work that day, and she never came home. She was killed in a car accident. And,
She was a pre-med student at Vanderbilt University. The little girl, man, she had great goals, great work ethic. She had her list written down, what she was going to accomplish and things she was going to do. And was working 3 jobs. And with all the, help we could provide and everything else, to go to a university like Vanderbilt's not cheap, so she was working 3 jobs, so we know she was tired. But like I said, she just left out for her day that day and never came back. So.
Yeah. And, we attribute her work ethic and her enthusiasm for life to what we learned in those 15 years in that other company, in those other companies, because of the books we read and the tapes we listened to, because she was 10 years old at the time when we got into network marketing. So she was the youngest, and she got all of that in her. She loved listening to the tapes. She loved hearing the success stories, and that really molded her and shaped her. And so she was the go-getter out of our kids. The other 3, they were just biding their time till they could get out of high school and go to work, and they didn't have a lot of goals and aspirations. They were, to be really honest, they were a little bit resentful of the time that we had spent in network marketing, whereas Lisa she absorbed it. She got it. She was a product of that.
Yeah, she'd become friends with one of our upline's daughters, who was about the same age. So she went to several of these events and some of these functions, and they weren't in the room the whole time, the speaking room, but they were there with the people and the excitement and the energy, and so she got a big shot of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it was in January of 2002, and we just really thought our world had come to an end. You just wonder whenever that happens. I mean, as difficult as it is to lose a parent, and Deirdre, I'm so sorry about the loss of your father, because I'm a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult when I lost my father as well. But when that happened, it's not the natural order of things for a parent to lose a child.
No.
And it was the most devastating thing that we ever had to deal with. And, we realized, thank God we had faith in God.
Absolutely.
We are so thankful that we had a relationship with Jesus Christ, because without him, we would have never made it through.
I cried out to him and said, I can't make this. I can't do this. You got to help me. Like, really, I need a lot of help here, because I don't know if I can go through this and live this and not just commit suicide.
Yes.
Seriously, I at the time, after Lisa's death like that, I never fathomed we could go on and have joy in our life. How can we go on in this great adventure of life without, my little champion?
Yeah.
And I was just, wow, you got to help me, Jesus, because I cannot do this. And he did. A peace came over me right after I prayed that prayer that night, about 3 weeks after Lisa's passing. And I can't explain it, but I know it was real because it happened to me. And it just put a peace and a calm in my heart and my spirit. I was still sad. I was still angry, just completely candid. I was still angry at God and upset and didn't understand. Why am I still here? All the crazy, dumb things I did growing up. Where here's this beautiful child at 21, had her act together, still a virgin, promised herself and us that she was going to, do it right and wait till she got married, and just complete opposite of her dad, and here I'm still here and she's gone. I really wrestled with that for a long time after she died like that. But like we tried to say, we came to that realization that we had to move on. We had to live strong in her honor, and we have 3 other beautiful children. None of them were married yet at that time, but we still had all of them, and they needed us too. They just lost their little sister. And I don't know, it's hard to describe, and with the pain, and it's still very painful. New Year's holidays, they're bittersweet for us, because she died just 2 days after, or 2 or 3 days after New Year's. So it's it's kind of still hard after all these years.
Yeah.
But we're still here, and we still got work to do, right? We're still got work to do, and things we're striving for. And if we can keep the strength up to talk about painful things like this, I think it does help people, because it happens to somebody all the time. Somebody all the time losing a child or a parent, a mom, a sister. It's just part of the deal of planet Earth, right? There's only one way off this planet,
right?
And hopefully we're going to exit the right way. And like I said, we're strong in our faith, and I'm thankful for that, because there was a point in time in my life years ago when I was not at all, not totally not at all. So anyway, I'll take a breath.
Yeah, no, you know, we've had a lot of adversity in our life, and God has used every single thing to strengthen us and to become, you know, to mold us into the people that we are today. And you know, even just in the last few years, my sister passed away with lung cancer as we were working really hard in our business and, you know, reaching for a new level. And I told myself, you know, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to be with her when her prognosis was not good. And my team was rocking and rolling, and my business was growing. And, you know, so many people were looking up to me. And, you know, we were just in such momentum. And in 2007, my sister was diagnosed with lung cancer. And, you know, it was a very short period of time for her. And she was diagnosed the end of January. And I sat down with her and I said, you know what, I'm going to put my business on the back burner. And she's the one, you know, she's like, what? Are you kidding me? She goes, this is what you were born to do. And at that time, I was 52 years old, and she said, this is your purpose in life. Don't you realize that by now? I mean, this is it for you. This is what God put you on this planet to do. There's too many people that are counting on you, and I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about me. You just get out there and you go and you pour into those people's lives. And I did. And I reached one of the levels that had not been reached in our company yet. And by the end of March, and she was the first person I called, and you know, I'll never forget her just, you know, you go, sister girlfriend, you know, she was so excited, and she died a week later.
Yep.
And you know, I had already some commitments that same week to be at an expo with some of my new girls, and we buried her on Wednesday, and on Thursday I was at that expo. And a lot of people would say, how could you do that? And I would say, because it's not about me. You know, it's about that purpose that God has for our lives. And we have to do what He's put us on this earth to do. And He gets us through it. You know, if God brings you to it, He'll bring you through it. And so that was the driving force that kept me being able to do what I do. And a few months later is when I lost my father. And so, you know, that was very difficult as well. And the week that we lost him was the week of our national convention, and he died on Wednesday, and we're supposed to be on a plane to Tampa, Florida on Friday and speaking at that convention. And we were able, with my father, we live in Tennessee, my father is from Missouri, so we did a 5-hour drive to get him to Missouri, and just did a graveside service, and got right back in the car and came back so that we could be at that convention on Friday and speak. And again, it wasn't about me. It was about, you know, where I was supposed to be. And my dad knew that. My mother, she was the one that said, absolutely, you're not, you know, we'll do what we have to do to make this quick, to get this. And he died on Wednesday. We buried him on Thursday, and we were on that plane on Friday. And, you know, so it's just those things that, you know, it's much bigger than us. It's much bigger, and we know that. And a couple of years later, I'm going for the very highest rank in our company, and got devastating news that my nephew passed away of pneumonia, 33 years old. And this was 2 days to the end of the month, and I'm pushing hard to achieve this goal, the highest rank. No one had ever done it yet, and I was going to be the first one. And I just thought, Lord, what are you doing? Why are so many tragic things happening to us? And the very same day, 2 hours later, I get another phone call that my favorite uncle in the world had a massive heart attack, my dad's brother, on the same day that my nephew died. And he's in Missouri, and my nephew's here with us, and it's the same thing. Blair and I were supposed to go to Puerto Rico. We had a big event over there that we had to be at. And this was right around his birthday also. And so I had a lot of things going on. I'm shooting for that rank. We're supposed to be in Puerto Rico. It's his birthday. My nephew died. My uncle died. How are we going to do this? And we did it. It's by the grace of God. We buried my nephew and then jumped in the car and drove to Missouri and went there to bury my uncle and then jumped back in the car and came back home and hit a plane for Puerto Rico.
Wow.
And at that point, I said, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about hitting the rank. It was just, I was exhausted. I was spent.
If it happens, it happens. We were just,
yeah,
no.
It was. And I forgot my cell phone.
Yeah, we're going out of country or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have no phone.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, the grace of God, just the very last person that needed to hit a rank in order for us to promote, she called me and she said, I'm going to get it done. I will get it done. And we did. We promoted on that last day of October. And it was, it was, I'm telling you, again, it's just God's greater purpose. It's his greater purpose. And the adversity, would I wish that on anybody? No. But, you know, it's in those valleys that we grow. It really is. And without it, I know we wouldn't be the people we are today.
That's true. People all the time, it takes a whole lot to really get me upset now because, I mean, I know what really upset me.
I bet.
Some people, you know, they're so bent over the traffic or something. I was like, come on, you know, you're going to crash yourself on a freeway to get 20 feet in front of somebody in a car. You know, it's like, let's put perspective on these things, you know, and I think that helps hopefully to help people to realize, wow, I mean, that's just a little nothing in the big picture of things, you know. And like Mel said, we wouldn't wish this on anybody. I wouldn't wish anyone to lose their child. But after that and going through that and realizing that's a biggie. That is a biggie. And all this other little stuff just kind of comes and goes. That's just called life. That's just called life. And it'll sort itself out. And some of that little stuff like that, I say 100 years from now, what's any of that even going to matter, right?
Right. I wonder what it would be like to be in your guys' organization and try to come up with excuses.
There aren't very many that work for us.
It's like, listen, you can go to anybody but Melody and Blair. Don't call them up and say that your foot hurts. It ain't gonna.
Because you will, Robert. You'll get some real tough love from me, but you know.
That's awesome.
Well, it does help. It helps for us to be able to relate to people, and you know, it is a ministry for us. Actually,
it is.
So many people have hearing our story have come up and asked for prayer and asked us to pray with them, and just to, you know, for us to be able to say, you know, we know what you're going through. We felt what you feel, and you know, so God didn't have any of that happen in vain. He does turn things around and uses it to bring glory to him and to help us through life, and we are able to help pick others up and say, you know what, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We just had our annual conference was this past weekend, and one of my leaders was so on fire and so excited, and they're driving home to New Jersey from Florida. That was where we were at, and she gets devastating that her brother was hit and killed by a car. He was a pedestrian, and you know, it's like, wow, you know, this is just I was able to just reach out to her and say, you know, I love you, and this too shall pass, and you will grow from this, and you are going to be okay, but I know your pain, and I know what you're going through, and just to be able to empathize with her, because I didn't even tell you, but my youngest brother was killed in a car accident on the same day that our daughter died, but 20 years earlier, in 1982, and he was 21 years old, and here 20 years later on the same date that he died, she died at 21 years old. Now, I've asked God about that one. Haven't been able to figure that one out. You know? But, so I know what it's like to lose a brother. I know what it's like to lose a sister and a dad and a child and, you know, uncles and aunts and siblings and things. But, you know, it is that circle of life. And we just have to use those things to build us and shape us and mold us and to give hope You know, if we can have hope through all of that, then we can help tell other people there is hope.
Yes.
There is light at the end of that tunnel, you know.
Because there was a time when I didn't have hope after that, after Lisa like that. I just couldn't fathom it. I could not fathom it. How are we ever going to move forward? I don't, you know, I don't even know if we wanted to. For me, I can't speak for me, but I didn't know if I wanted to move forward. And I was still very active in a huge construction business that I owned, or it owned me at that time in 2002. So I was forced to have to keep going and keep relating. And, you know, I had like 100 people counting on me for a check every Friday. And, you know, I had customers to deal with and banks to deal with and realtors to deal with and employees. So I was forced to keep going. You know, I couldn't shut down as much as I wanted to. Just wanted to find a hole and climb into it, you know. So it forced me to have to keep on being out in the world, you know, so to speak, whereas Melody was just stay at home at that time, you know. So it was none of that's easy, but it's those things, like Mel was saying, it's those things that are you know, they're devastating and they are traumatic, that build and mold who we are, you know. And I think some of that really just reveals your true character, you know. It's hard to say this the right way too, but you know, you talk about these things build your character, but I think a lot of times they reveal your true character. Who am I really, man, when the chips are really down and I don't know where to turn. You know, that's when you really find out this is who I really truly am. And I think a lot of people, it kind of scares them. They met themselves for the first time, maybe, really, you know. I'm not saying because of loss of a child even, but other things, you know, you lost a business, lost a job, lost a divorce, you know, different things you go through. But it's through those things where your true character is revealed and honed a little bit, and then hopefully you do come out the other side a lot better and stronger person for having gone through some of that. Okay?
Very
Most
cool.
definitely. I think from what I've learned in a period of time too, it seems like God gives his strongest soldiers the most to endure. And I can definitely see how your sister had said to you that this was your overall calling. I believe that potentially all of those things may have been given to you because it did develop an overall sense of empathy, and empathy is so much more powerful than sympathy. To have gone through those things and be able to be there for other people, yeah, that's amazing. And I look at the two of you, and I'm truly inspired. As Molly said, myself and Michael, who is my partner, have currently started to do kind of a mentoring process for other couples, but it's been so cathartic in a sense for us. We haven't gone through anything to the level of what you all have been through, but we went through a lot of adversity as well too. And there's such a beauty about it when you know what God's kind of, how he's trying to speak through you and where he's taking you with things. And sometimes when you feel like you get socked in the face, you realize, okay, no, I got to get back up, because there's so many more people that go through so many more things. And like you said, it really reveals your true character, what you can withstand and who you want to be and how you want to make the best of everything. So advice, I guess, as a couple working together, what's your best advice? How do you complement each other? How do you make things work best? I'm sure, you know, being in a couple format and working multiple businesses with Michael, it's not always roses. It's not always rainbows. We have our disagreements.
That's right.
We have our things where we complement one another. But how do you two make it work?
Well, fortunately for us, we learned a long time ago about the personalities. And, you know, I've realized what makes me tick and what makes him tick. And, you know, that's so important. So you have to know what your strengths are and what each other's strengths and weaknesses are, so that we can work to develop our strengths to be stronger, and then work on those weaknesses. And so for us, that was very key in helping us to be able to come together as a couple, and to know that my strengths are, I'm a people person. I love people. I love to have fun. I'm very scattered. I'm disorganized. I'm late. You know, I'm just not into the details at all. And then I've also got part of that in me that just gets overwhelmed really easy. And, you know, I'll think, oh my gosh, that's just way too much much effort to do. I don't want to do it. And, you know, I've got that laid back kind of character too. And Blair's the opposite. He's got that strong, driven, goal oriented, you know, the more attention to detail too as
Not
well.
enough. Neither one of us.
But better than me.
Yeah, we're into the small, big picture stuff for me too. I'm just like, what's the big picture? What's the bottom line?
Yeah,
you know?
bottom line kind of thinker, you know. So that was very, very key for us, is to learn those personality traits and to study them and to know, you know, how we best relate to one another. So, you know, he does a lot of the things that are very tedious for me, the things that bog me down, and things that are, you know, that's okay. He's good at that. And for him, you know, I'm the life of the party or whatever, and he comes along and he rolls with it, you know, and he also gets lifted up and he starts to become the life of the party too, you know. So we both, it's so important to do the personalities, to do the test. There's so many out there.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of companies do have their own preference of which test you need to dig into, but you know, go online and just Google personality test. If you don't have one in particular, just go in there and learn, because that's going to help you to be, you know, better parents, better individuals, better spouses.
Patient with each other.
Yeah.
The first book we ever read was that Florence Littauer, Personality Plus, or Personality Profile.
Yeah.
But anyway, and she had great stories in there, and talked about, you know, her husband was a lot, I guess, kind of more like me, and she was more like Melody, and so maybe that helped me get through that book.
Yeah.
Where I liked it so much.
Right.
But anyway, and in that book she said something about Melody's temperament thrived on compliments. She just thrives on compliments. You know, big or small, it doesn't matter. And then my personality stuff rarely gives compliments. You know, it's got to be really something big, you know. So she'd be getting ready to go, or we'd be getting ready to go, and I'm looking at my watch, and I'm waiting, and you know, and she'd come down just looking like $1,000,000, and I said, "Are you finally ready to go?" And she's looking, "Oh, you look marvelous, you know, baby, you're hot, you know." And
so I have
she
to
just
ask.
crushed, you know. And this is back in the day. Anyway, so we didn't know this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But she's reading through the right here. Look, my personality thrives on comments. I thrive on compliments. And her daddy, he was very great at complimenting Melody. Like you said, she was a daddy's girl. And then I flipped about 5 pages over, and here's mine, and mine says rarely gives compliments. You know. But to fail that, to tell people, don't use that as a crutch, because you can change. I mean, deep down you are who you are, but don't use that and, you know, and it's this, well, that's just how I am and I can't do anything about it. No, you can do something about it. You learn to become aware of other people in this world, and that we are all different, similar but yet different, and that way I can relate to people and I can do my best to, you know, bring out the best in them. So yeah, it's very important.
Blair and Melody, my mentor, 26 years ago, I went through a 5-day seminar on just personality traits, and I still to this day, other than him showing me that I could, you know, set goals, other than that, it was the most impactful thing in my whole entire life. And I tell people going through the personality training, so I actually teach people personalities too. And one of the things that it did for me is it made me feel like I wasn't just such an idiot.
Yeah.
I just thought I was the guy that everybody else can do this. I can't do this, you know, but everybody else can do it. And so you get done taking the personality test, and it was in a large group, and I found out that I was surrounded by a bunch of idiots just like me. And so,
I love it.
there's nothing better than to realize that God created you to be great. I forget who said it. The 2 biggest important dates of your life is the day that you were born and the day that you figured out why.
Yes.
Why you were born. And man, that day was huge for me, because I realized that I was okay. There was other people like me, and I could learn how to communicate with these other people that were stupid. You know,
Yep.
I could explain to these other people how they could understand me.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Oh.
Oh, thanks for sharing. That is so awesome.
Yes.
Well, I don't have any questions. I got another appointment in 7 minutes, but you know, one of the questions I usually always try to pull out of somebody is, what is something that's a significant emotional event, something that just popped you to make you realize that you had to be different. And man, I don't know how you guys got bigger ones than the ones that you shared today. Wow, it's just like, you know, listen, you know, stop your crying and whining and become a better person. And like Blair, when you said that, you know, the leopard can't change his spots. I've changed every spot on me, and I'm far from done.
Yes.
I'm far from done.
So true. Yeah, the day we quit learning is the day we're dying, right? A day at a time. So we always
Molly and Deidre, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this interview. I mean, and meeting both of you a little more personally. I want you to know that if there's anything that I can do for you guys, please let me know. I just think you guys are so awesome.
Oh, thank you. We're looking forward to seeing you again.
Okay.
Do you guys have, I guess I got one quick question. I just thought, Molly, quick. Do you guys have like generic training that you do that's outside of your group yet? Or
we've not done that yet. No,
yeah,
we haven't.
You know, that's what Eric did to me. The only reason I'm doing what I'm doing today is Eric Worre 3 years ago. I put my sons in front of him at a convention that he was at for another company. And, you know, and I said to him, and he says, well, why with what you're doing, why would you put your sons in front of me? And I said, expert from afar. Expert from afar. There was a lot of young kids there. I have a 22, 23, and a 21 years old. And I wanted them to learn from these kids at that time that were rocketed on social media and doing all that stuff. And you know, I walked up to one kid. I just interviewed a kid the other day. And I said, what percentage of the people do you have in your group? He makes over $3 million in the last 2 years. And I said, how many percentage of the people that you have in your group came off the internet? 100%. And I'm like, okay, I'm an old guy. I'm 53, and I'm going like, I want my kids to learn from these young people, you know? And so then Eric, the way he is, hey, you got to come be my guest. What an ambassador for the profession. Oh, the guy is just awesome. And now I'm speaking on stage, and everybody's like, hey, can you teach me? But I'm not in your group. And I'm going, wow, new level. You know, totally new level of, and so for you guys to jump on here and give your hearts and your story to us, golly, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Absolutely.
Robert, real quick before you go, I want to read a text that I got from a girl that's mentoring with our program that's also in Melody's group somewhere down the line, and she sent me a text. She said, I wish you the most very best, awesome interview. I love that you have the privilege to be able to interview the McFarlanes. I was thinking you should ask her about what all the excitement was when she was coming down the escalator at our event this past Saturday. She had the entire group of close to 500 people gather their hands and pray, and ask her about that. She and Blair were so stinking excited. They are loved by so many.
Oh, yeah, that was a moment.
Tell us about that coming down the escalator. What was happening? What did we miss?
It was actually more like 1,500 people, but
that's
okay.
Who's counting, right, Blair?
She said I was more in the details. So.
Yeah.
I read it word for word.
We went to a group picture, and we asked everybody. You know, we tried to get the message out to say, you know, all of you on our team, if you're here, meet us out at the stairs in front of the convention center. And you know, we were late getting there because people were stopping us wanting their picture, and so everybody was waiting when we got there, and they had a set of escalators going down in the middle of the two stairways. So not everybody could fit on just one stairway. They had to branch over into the other stairway, and in the middle was the escalator. So we're coming down all by ourselves, and everybody's just screaming and yelling, and just, I mean, it was so loud. I've never seen anything like it. And it was such a moment. And you know, so we got down at the bottom of that. All I could do was just jump up and down and just crazy and just jumping. I was just so excited. But yeah, we held hands and we prayed and we gave that day to God and we just thanked Him for that day and thanked Him for all the good things in our lives. And you know, what a better way to end an amazing, life-changing conference than to give it all back to God and say thank you so much for what you're doing here. So that was what we were doing.
What a better way to end our amazing interview with you two beautiful people. And I just want to thank you so much. And Deirdre, out in Vegas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Robert out in Montana,
Thank
you're
you for the
amazing
opportunity.
as always. We love you. We love you all. And I don't think this could have been any better. I don't think there's a person in the world that can't benefit from this interview today. So.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you all so much. We enjoyed it.
Okay. We'll talk soon. Robert, I know you have to go. Dee, I know you have to go. So, and I got to get back to work.
All right, guys.
You guys too. Bye-bye.
Talk a little bit too, Robert.
All right.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.